education has significantly changed throughout the years, changing the way we learn, teach, and experience school life. From chalkboards to digital screens, from strict disciplines to interactive learning. Every generation has its own unique way in each education. Hi everyone, my name is Flora Oira, your interviewer for today's video. And today we will explore these changes through the eyes of two individuals, one who experienced learning in an earlier education and one who belongs to this modern education. And now, let's begin this fascinating interview. Good day. Thank you so much for being here with me. Can you please tell your name and a small educational background of yours?
My name is Timistoklisa L. Conor. I'm graduated elementary school.
Okay, thank you so much, Lola Temes. So, now let's move on to our series of questions. So, for the first question, during your school days, how did students typically learn? Was it like mostly memorization, hands-on activities, or discussions?
During my school days, the learning style are mostly visual and auditory because that is the tradition once.
Okay, thank you so much. For our next question, what was the most common way teachers delivered lesson?
The common way teachers delivered lesson during my time are mostly lectures from the teachers.
Okay, so can you tell me some lectures or the topic na nakuha ninyo sa una, nakatunan sa eskwelahan?
Tahi mi og mga school dress, mga duster, napay uban.
Okay, thank you so much. And for our next question, how will you describe the school environment, including disciplines and student behavior during your time?
My school environment during my time is good because I am an intelligent person.
Wow, so you are an intelligent person. So for our next question, what were the biggest challenges students face in your generation?
The biggest challenges student face is my generation are lack of food, money, or transportation, which we only walk from my house to the school.
Last question, what tools or resources did students use for learning in your time?
The tools or resources that we use for learning during my time are paper, books, dictionary, encyclopedia, and others. Because during my time, we don't have television and internet.
Okay, so thank you so much, Lola Temes, for that insightful answers of yours. Your response is highly appreciated. Now, let's fast forward to the present and speak with a student from today's generation to see how things have evolved. Thank you for being here today. So, kindly introduce yourself and please tell a little about your educational background.
So, hello everyone. I am Erlizer Al-Saradat. I am graduated at Valencia National High School, taking up Bachelor of Physical Education.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Saradas. So, let's proceed to our first question. How does modern education differ from traditional methods, and how do you prefer to learn?
So, modern way of teaching is much more learner-centered compared to the traditional method, which is teacher-centered, and the focus of modern methods is much more on collaborative learning rather than individualized learning.
Okay, thank you so much. So, let's proceed to our second question. What is the most common way teachers delivers lesson in your school?
So in our school today, the teacher employs blended learning, wherein the teachers uses traditional methods like physical IMs or even using the TV or the technology for the PowerPoint presentation.
Okay, so let's proceed to our next question. How would you describe the school environment in schools today?
The school environment today is much more conducive and much more safe compared to the past, because when we say conducive, it means it's much more safe and comfortable towards the students, because given the opportunity that we have the technology on all of those technology, which makes learning more effective.
Okay, so let's proceed to our next question. What are the biggest challenges students face in your generation?
So in our generation today, students are much more reliant towards the AI, when you say artificial intelligence, in which students much more like, for example, they answer some tasks, they use AI. But we should always remember that we should use AI in a responsible way. That's all.
Okay, and for our last question, how has technology influenced your learning experience?
So technology really impacts the way I learn because technology really helps me to make learning more easier. For example, I use smartphones to search some information rather than reading books, and also by using blended teaching, in which I sometimes use PowerPoint presentation with the use of TV.
How can you describe your learning experiences to today's generation?
Today's learning experiences are much more advanced and much more upgraded towards the past, because now I can see and I observe that most of the teachers uses collaborative learning, in which they assign group tasks rather than individualized tasks.
Okay, so thank you so much for your worthwhile answer, Mr. Saradat. Your participation is highly appreciated.
Thank you so much for having me in this interview.
After doing the interview, I discovered that each generation had a distinct educational journey. First, the learning styles of older education and those of modern education differ significantly. According to my grandmother, children learn through conversation and are auditory as well as visual learners. My acquaintance, on the other hand, told me that collaborative learning is a major component of today's education. Regarding the second theme, which focuses on the teaching methods of the two generations, I discovered that the former rely more on lectures, while the current generation focused entirely on blended learning. Third, the school environment has changed throughout the years. In contrast to the harsh discipline that existed in early education, it is not advisable to hurt students nowadays. The fourth question asks about the challenges that students encounter in each generation. I discovered that during their early schooling, they had limited access to food and transportation, walking from their home to school, whereas in our generations, we can commute easily, and students nowadays are dependent on artificial intelligence. Last but not the least, I discovered that early education relies solely on textbooks, whereas current education makes use of technology to provide more easily accessible information online. That's all for today's video. This is such an insightful conversation. We have seen how technology has evolved from traditional learning and strict disciplines to modern teaching methods and digital classrooms. Although challenges are still here, it is clear that each has its own unique way in education. And once again, this is your interviewer, Flora.